Hello, this is Jack and Crystal here with Awkward Conversations and Dirty Secrets, and it has been a while since we've been on, and we'll tell you the news. As you can't tell, maybe our background and all is different with our electric fireplace, and if you don't, I don't hear an ambulance. It's very quiet. So we have moved to Lynchburg, Virginia, and in the move, we're in a different house, different setting, and we're in kind of a neighborhood that's a lot more quiet than we were in Norman, Oklahoma, and so we don't have all the cars and ambulances and things driving by here. You may hear a car once every couple hours, so it's really a quiet type neighborhood. So we're excited to be here in Lynchburg, Virginia. Lots of stuff in Virginia. We've already saw some good bands. We've seen some great places to eat. And we've only been here a few weeks, so we're super excited. We wanted to make this podcast. The podcast is What Men Want, and we've been wanting to make that back since probably about November. But we got, Crystal got a new job, and so we moved here. We had to pack, we had to do all that stuff, so we're excited to be here. So we're trying out this section here. I got a real giant comfy chair, so I'm gonna get comfortable here while we're talking to you. But don't forget, we're gonna be on YouTube, so if you're on YouTube, check below for all our links. General Peeps Creative Studios, Wings and Relationships, and then again, we'll be on our podcast, which is Awkward Conversations and Dirty Secrets. Those are all our companies all together, so definitely check us all out, and we'll get started here. And I think there was anything else I was supposed to mention. Oh yeah, so our shirts. So as you see, Original AF, Crystal's got hers on. And if you go to wingsandrelationship.com to the shop page, you can purchase one of these shirts, and you can be an Original AF, period.
Yes, and I designed this, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, so on the page, 99.9% of them you designed.
Yeah.
So that's
very fun.
So those will be adding more shirts on there. We've gone to another server to do our shirts, so we'll have those all up. But this one's already up on there right now. He went right now. It's already up on there, yeah. And you can purchase you one. And also, don't forget, we are sponsored by nakedwines.com. So we have our wine.
We're big wine heads, so all of you that know us.
And again, that link will be in the bottom too. We don't, they don't cost you anything extra, but you become a wine person with nakedwines.com, and you'll get your bottles of wine the same as we do. You can see those other videos. So, doing all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. What men want, kind of like something I may know, but she knows more about it than I do, which is funny. What men want.
So this is a big question that's been on the minds of society for years, for generations back, right? And it's changed throughout the years. So it's definitely a topic that we've been asked about. It's something that I personally have been asked about. It's something that I have wondered about in and out of my life for a long time. So a lot of research has gone into this. A lot of experience has gone into this, and it's something that we wanted to present to all of you because I know that there's a lot of people out there that struggle with the same issue, and it's something that I think if we are all more aware of what men really do want, we can all have better relationships. We can all be more successful in what we are actually looking for. We can find better quality men out there. So less failure, more successes. That's what we're after, right? So we'll jump right into it. So just when we think we have men figured out, they change. So times change, humans change, we evolve. Things happen. Just, men have evolved just as women have. Our needs are more complex, than they once were. Men are not exactly big dumb animals that just need to be fed, watered, and sexed. they have deeper and more serious needs than our society is led to believe. You know, so we all make jokes that men are just, you know, all men want is sex. You know, that's all they want, and you know, they're all just selfish, and they're all just, you know, stupid, and they're all just, you know, horrible. And there are some men out there like that, okay? You know, I've met some men like that.
We didn't add in there video games and sports.
Yes. Yes.
Video games and sports, we're there. Fed, watered, sex, video games and sports.
Yes. But to be fair, there are some women out there like that too, guys. Right?
Like video games and sports?
There's some women out there that are, you know, real jerks too. So, I mean, am I right? There are some women out there that are really horrible too. So, I don't think it's gender specific all the time. And I've been through some pretty horrible relationships myself, just as I'm sure many of you have. But yes, there are some men out there that are, it seems very specific that is what they are after. But, you know, men have evolved, and that is not specifically, you know, what they're after anymore. So before we start this discussion, just want you all to keep in mind something very important, that men are not all the same. And another, you know, real easy cliche to get stuck in, especially for all of us women that have been jaded at one point, anyone in a relationship that has been jaded at one point, is to say, oh, all men are the same. They're all the same. They're all pigs. They're all...
I'll never find a good man. I'll never find a good man.
I'll never find a good... All the good men are taken. You know, that's really not true, because, you know, I finally found a good one, and I had all but given up. You know, I mean, I am getting on in life, and, you know, I really didn't think that love was out there anymore. So, you know, I could sit here and tell my story. I'm not going to do that. But there are many other stories out there. Just keep in mind that not all men are the same. And not just in that sense, but in many others. So just want you to kind of keep that as a baseline here as we're talking. So there, and in that same context, there can be one man that can come into your life and show you that not all men are the same. So that being said, all men have different personalities and different traits. Some of them tend to hide them a little bit better than others, but all of us that are looking at men in this way, that they may all be the same, our lists may kind of differ, you know, what we're looking for in a man. So for the most part, we kind of have the same agenda, but a few things swapped. So do you really know what men want? Do you know, all of you know what men want? We think we know what they want. I think most of us think we know. We think we know. You know, I thought I knew for a long time what they wanted, but I was seriously mistaken when I was younger, and dating and finding all of the wrong men and dating all of the wrong men, that, you know, I was not finding and seeking out the correct men and knowing what they wanted. So I was going about it all the wrong way. So it just goes to show that there's always room for learning for all of us. And that's what we're all here for, is to learn more about each other. That's really how we all grow and become better in our relationships. So in that same sense, are you a man that knows what you want? So there's a lot of men out there that don't really know what they want. So, you know, that's something that men need to keep in mind too. Really reflect on yourself, you know, and that can go for anyone. You know, identify with yourself. What do you really want? That's something that you always need to keep as a center for yourself, to know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then you're going to be looking for all the wrong things out of a relationship. So here's kind of a guideline, kind of a list of the main things that research has shown that men want and what they're looking for in a relationship. So number one, they want to be the hero. So this is a strong natural born instinct in a man. He wants to be strong. He wants to be invincible. He wants to conquer the world, right? He wants to save you from the unthinkable. This makes them praiseworthy and attractive. So let's have story time right now. There are many superheroes out there. We all know. Right now, you're all thinking of a superhero, right? There's one in your mind right now. But because comicbook.com names Superman the most iconic superhero of all time, we're going to use him.
He is.
So everyone knows who Superman is. Women think that Clark Kent is adorable, but men don't think he's cool at all. In fact, they would not consider him special at all. So Superman, on the other hand, is awesome. He's strong, he's handsome, he can fly, he can do all those things. He's got powers, and he gets the girl, right? Clark Kent, he can't even get a second look from a girl. He's, you know, not cool. He's in the friend zone. He doesn't have any special powers or gifts. He's kind of like the nerdy, socially awkward guy, right? So men want to be the other guy. They want to be the other personality. They want to be Superman, right? Because he's the cool guy. He has all the powers and all the attention. And when a woman embraces this need in a man, the hero, it empowers the man and strengthens his love. So embracing the hero makes a man feel needed, and they need that. Men need that, whether they realize it or not. So even more so when they're in a relationship, they need it from the person they love most. So in marriages and serious relationships, sometimes men don't get that, and women don't often think, and not just women, their partners, whoever they're with, they don't think that men need that because they're insensitive to their needs. They don't think that men need that. That's not something that they think about, and they do. They need that. So this all goes back to prehistoric times in our culture, in which men were like the warriors, right? And protected women from all the predators. That's what they did. So in today's world, what can make a man feel heroic? Well, there's lots of different things, like fixing the refrigerator, buying a house, fixing the car, carrying you to bed when you're sick, when you've had too much to drink, or making you smile when you've had a bad day, sending you flowers, things like that. All of those things make a man feel like a hero. So being super hot, uber attractive, a great lover is all wonderful, but if a man does not feel like a hero to you, the relationship may very likely fail at some point, or it may never begin in the first place. So this is huge. A lot of women do not know this. A lot of people that are looking for a quality man do not realize this, and it's extremely important. Because 9 times out of 10, you know, a man is not going to tell you this, obviously. So it's very good to know. Very good to know. Anything you want to elaborate on that?
I agree, because I'm always like, look what I fixed, look what I built, look what I did. And it's just, you know, and then being an ex-cop, I was always like, that's right, I'm protecting you, I'm a protector. And so that's definitely, that makes perfect sense for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even as children, I mean, I have 3 boys, and even as children, when they were little, you know, they would build things and they would come show me, you know, look what I built, Mom. You know, they would want that praise. So it makes sense to me. Number 2 of the things that men want: sexy, feminine women. Men like this, but keep in mind, this does not necessarily mean meek, shy, or old-fashioned. As a matter of fact, it's typically the very opposite. Men like someone that is confident in her sexuality. This is extremely attractive. So here's kind of a scenario. You're in a restaurant with some friends, and a woman walks in the door wearing a black dress and heels. She has beautiful hair and curls, and her curls bounce when she walks. Her skin's like porcelain. Nearly every man and every woman stops and stares at her when she walks in the door. She is unmoved in her position. Her head is high, and the radiance from her smile like lights up the entire room. When she is taken to her table with her friends, her movement is fluid and grace. Her beauty and glow is contagious, and everybody wants it. Every man and every woman in the restaurant wants her.
So that reminds me of the show, She's Out of My League. So they talk about that when she walks in that airport and she's walking and smiling, her hair is bouncing, and all the guys, all the women, everybody's turning around looking at her. It kind of gives me that, when you talk about that, it gives me that scene in that movie.
It's a good example.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is what men want. Am I right?
Yeah, that's what they want.
Like a confident woman that's secure in her femininity. She knows what she wants, how to have a good time. She's smart, strong, and you know, she strives with a look that can stop a man in his tracks. It's a look of confidence that has a man explaining to his friends, I just couldn't stop looking at her. I have to see her again. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. You know, I just couldn't help myself, kind of thing.
I'm all flustered.
Like, yeah, like, I've never felt like this before. Like, what's wrong with me? So, knowing your value, believing you're of high worth, being able to flirt confidently, being seductive, sexy, and beautiful are all things that men are after. If these are things you lack, get good. My boys always say, get good. So get good. You want to get good at that. It's really important because, you know, you need to believe that you are of high worth. You know, no matter who you are, what you think you are worth something, and you are worthy of a quality man. And until you believe that, you're not going to get one. So if you need help, you know where to find us. Anybody can do this, I'm telling you. I've seen, you know, complete, like, all thumbs, you know, transform into something like this, and, you know, just beautiful, beautiful, like, it doesn't matter. It's all about what you think and believe you can do. So, you know, believe it or not, men don't always want the blonde, you know, beautiful, tiny frame. Sometimes men, you know, want like kind of the opposite. It just depends on their culture, their personality, you know, sometimes their demographic. So, you know, put down those magazines. If that's not who you are, don't become that to find a specific man. Because if you do that, you're going to be unhappy. So don't change for somebody. Be who you are. Because you're not going to love yourself in the end, and chances are that relationship in the end is not going to be successful. You need to stay who you are and wait and look for that man that is looking for you.
Yeah, once you're confident in who you are, I think that's what it is. It doesn't have to be with your short, tall, blonde, brunette, you know, whatever your look is. It's not so much that, because so many different guys like so many different types of looks. So, but all of them like confidence. So.
Yes, it's true. I think so many people spend so much time trying to be an idea or a certain look that they lose themselves in the process, and that's so important not to do. So don't lose yourself in that process. But yeah, today men really, honestly, and this is according to Psychology Today, they tend to be more focused on attractiveness only when there is no social interaction present. So in other words, once they have met socially and have personal contact, the basis of a man's attraction becomes less focused on looks. So if we meet via social media, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this, instantly going to be based more on looks, right? Am I right?
Right.
Once you meet that person socially, it's based less on looks and more on personality. So, interesting fact. So what we're saying here is that no two men are looking for the same thing. More often than not, a quality man is looking for a winning personality. So looks fade, personality is forever. You can't have a conversation with a beautiful woman in your kitchen making you a pot of coffee that you can't, you know, talk to for more than 2 minutes for the rest of your life.
So that kind of goes into what I'll call intelligence, because I mean, they may say that they like a ditzy girl, but don't be an idiot. You know, hopefully you have some smarts. These days, you used to think that men like ditzy blondes, ditzy bleach blondes, but that's not true at all. Men are attracted to women with brains, especially in this day and age. So, you know, how many women you see nowadays are CEOs of businesses or huge in their companies, or striving to be better with their jobs. And so, you know, if you're a woman, don't be afraid to flip out the Trivial Pursuit at the game at the coffee shop and with your man, and just show how smart you are and what you do know, because guess what? I love that. I mean, I love my wife has super knowledge on a lot of things. I'm like, whoa, she's super smart. And that's one of the things I always tell her. I say, you know, that's one of the things that I loved about her. Not only the fact that, you know, it was visually pleasing when I first met her, but also that she's smart and funny, and we had a lot of things in common. So, as a woman also, be a good listener. You know, men love that. Men maybe act like they're not all about our feelings and our sensitivity, but we are. We're sensitive kind of guys, and it takes a real man to admit that. And now that I'm already married and happy, I can admit that. But we like to be heard, we like to know that our partners are listening to us and interested in what we're saying. So sometimes women often blab, always thinking men don't listen and that men don't want to or need to talk, but it's not true. So a lot of times, and there's guys that maybe we do some things different sometimes, but at the very end we still want to be heard. We still want to talk about our feelings. You just got to peel. It's kind of like an onion. You got to get to that. You got to get to that center part, and you'll see that more of us are like that than you think. Men need a good listener. If they're not, they do not receive it in a relationship, it can leave them feeling unfulfilled and invalidated. So often men need to be prodded a little to talk about their feelings, and you can tell this between me and Crystal. Especially when we first got together, she had to tell me. She kind of had to do a lot of prodding to get me to open up about stuff. And it still happens sometimes, but when the other times she wants me to shut up because I just yak and but we like to talk about our feelings. We know, the best way to do this sometimes is just simply, tell me about your day. It can go a long way, and sometimes it's not, how was your day? And that's a whole different deal, because you can say, how was your day? And that's going to be good, right? How are you doing? I'm fine. But if you say, tell me about your day, or, tell me kind of how things went. If you go into a question like that, you're going to get more conversation out of someone. Again, don't ask, like I said, don't ask yes and no questions. Ask open-ended questions. So what's on your mind at this moment? What are you thinking? You look like you had a rough day. Let's talk about it. And it's funny, this can go back and forth. So it doesn't have to always be about the guys, but we're talking about men right now. So sometimes men talk about things that do not interest their partner or their date at all. And so, just as, as a woman, you're not always going to be interested in every single thing that the guy talks about. So, such as football for Crystal, right? She knows that I'm, huge 49ers fan. And sometimes I'll be yakking about, football, and she's like, oh, okay, but she tries to care, tries to figure it out, and tries to learn about it. Lisa and nothing else listens to it, and she knows probably more about football in the last 5 or 6 years we've been together than she did before then. And she'll hear things like the kicker's name, Wadowski. She knows that. And she knows George Kittle. She knows he's one of my favorite players. And she can tell just by us talking that my team's doing good or my team's not doing good. And she knows that it interests me. So if you're interested in your man, be interested in some of the things they're doing. Find a way to kind of change that into conversation. So she follows a few 49ers pages on social media just because she gets those little blurbs sometimes. That way she can say, hey, I heard so-and-so George Kittle did this. And I'm like, oh, what? How'd you know that? So ways you can be an active listener is nonverbal cues such as turning your body to face him, eye contact, nodding your head in agreement, asking questions, right? You may not love it, you may not have, but you're like, hey, is George Kittle playing? Is the 49ers winning? Something to that effect. Don't interrupt. So the guy's like yakking about his favorite team or what's going on. Don't interrupt. Let him finish. Let him talk about it because he's expressing his excitement for his love of something. Whether it be football or basketball or baseball or sports or guns or whatever he's into. Be present in the conversation. Put yourself free from distractions. Put down your phone. Your TV's off there. Different things like that. So. And it's going to be vice versa. And again, we're talking about what men want, so we're getting that perspective. But it's kind of the same thing, vice versa.
So number 5, spontaneity. A man loves surprises and counterpart that is spontaneous. A person that is ready to jump at a fun opportunity at any time, spur of the moment. is very magnetizing. Predictable is boring. It's just not something men look for in a partner. So whether it's, out for a date or making love, men want someone that can completely switch it up and keep them guessing. This keeps things very interesting. Most people do not want to have the same routine all the time, and men particularly do not want to be in a relationship with a boring partner. Because what do we all think, and I think this is just not for men, or not just for men. I mean, we all know that the longer we're in a relationship, the more things get to be kind of stationary. So if you're like dating someone that is boring in the beginning, what's it going to be like 20 years from then? I mean, come on. So, if a guy starts out dating someone that is like a bore, chances are, you get what I'm saying?
It's really going to be boring here in 10 years.
So if you can't keep a guy's interest, then that's probably not going to be a good thing for you. They want to see a potential partner that can have a good time in anything they do. They want to be introduced to new and exciting things as well. So they want to see what you can bring to their world. They already know their own world. They want to see, your world. What are you bringing to the table? Like, what is new and exciting about you? If you struggle with this, and some people do, and that's okay, start finding ways to discover yourself and what you enjoy. That's all about, we talked about earlier, like, what do you want? If you don't know what you want, or if you don't know who you are, a lot of people don't. Like, they're so caught up in their work and, they're just daily struggles. They don't even know what they want. They don't know who they are. They struggle with their self-identity. So you really should take some time to figure out what you like, who you are, what you enjoy. It's all part of self-care and self-love. Like, we get so caught up in what we do, and I'm guilty of that sometimes too. I mean, my work, my job, and I put so much into that, and sometimes I'm like, I just need to chill out for a minute and like enjoy stuff. But that's very common. So if you don't know, take some time to really figure that out, because it's really important. So also find some new adventures. There may be some things out there that you never knew that you liked because you never go out of your boring old box. So be adventurous. If you never leave your house, get out there. I'm guilty of staying in sometimes because I do so much stuff inside. A lot of my work is sitting down and on the computer, and sometimes I just need to get out of the house, and I feel so much better when I do, and I learn new things and have more fun, and that's how you can kind of meet more people and just do things that you have never done before. Get with your friends, do things that they do. What are they interested in? Find things in your community that are going on. Number 6, confidence. Men want a confident lover that is secure in themselves. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Don't be a snooty bitch, but know what you want, who you are, and what you're after. So men get really confused and put off by people that are, they're confused in themselves, that they don't know what they want, because that confuses them, and it's very off-putting. 1 minute you're on, 1 minute you're off. You don't know what you want. You're in 1 minute, you're out the next. You're calling, you're texting, then you're not. You want a commitment, you don't. Figure out what you want. And go after that. Be secure in your body, you know, yourself, your, you know, career, all of the things that you're after. Men are not comfortable with someone who is unsure of where they are and where they are going in life, most of all. So a good quality man is going to be looking for that. Like, if you have no like agenda, you're probably not going to be getting a quality man. So smiling a lot goes a long way with confidence. Men love to see you smile. A smile represents happiness, and happiness very often reflects confidence.
So we get to number 7. It's about acceptance. All too often, when men get into a relationship, their partner will try to change them into something else. As guys know that we cannot stand that, right? You don't want to be somebody that you're not. So something they should think about is this is wrong. Number 1, and 2, it's not going to end well. You'll have guys who are frustrated, trying to be somebody they're not, and so you don't want to do that to a man. Men want to be loved for who they are. Who doesn't, right? I mean, I'm a nerdy, you know. I like my sci-fi. I like my goofy stuff that I'm into, and Crystal loves me for that kind of person I am. It's important for them to know that when they make the bed like a 5-year-old, that you will still love them, because who better knows that men are not the best at making beds. I made the bed this morning, though.
You did. I appreciated that.
It was more like a 7-year-old, not a 5-year-old. If they steal the sheets off of you at night, you know, or wear their stinky socks to bed, this is kind of sounding familiar.
I didn't use personal examples at all.
Or eat like a Sasquatch in a nice restaurant that will, and you will love them anyway. So there are things that we all do, you know, as guys that, you know, happen. Not that those touched home. But I don't think I wear stinkies. Well, I have actually wore stinky socks. So, but it's things that guys, you know, and as a man, hopefully you're learning, you know, things like that. You're learning about yourself, saying, oh, you know what? To please my woman, make sure I take off my stinky socks before I lay down. If a man knows he's accepted unconditionally, he's more likely to try to change his own, you know, off-putting habits. And it's kind of true, because, you know, there will be things that,
like when you say salmon.
Yeah, so salmon. Is it salmon? Salmon. And she knows that I try to correct myself when I say things that are not correct to her. But you will change things as a guy. You'll change things about yourself because you want to, because you know that it pleases her. But at the same time, you as a woman, what a man wants is you for the woman to love you for who you are. So
exactly.
you'll grow together and learn things that are not, you know, don't make each other particularly the most happy, and you'll fix those as you go. Nobody's perfect, right? We were all perfect, and everybody would be great, and we wouldn't be here talking about how to find men, women, relationships, and all that good stuff. Experiencing things together. According to WebMD, one of the secrets guys wish we knew is that they often strengthen their relationships by doing things together with their partner versus sharing feelings or thoughts. So activities such as sports or sex helps men to feel more bonded with their partners. And you know, it's a woman thing too. Anytime you're doing something special with somebody, you know, whether it be going to festivals or rock concerts, or just going out and doing different things together, you know, or your personal time together, you're sitting there watching a movie, or you're having sex, or whatever it is, it's going to definitely build your relationship. Solo time, men need to have their own time to pursue their own interests, or is it just simply have some space of their own? This is both understandable and healthy. And all of us guys, sometimes, especially when we get with somebody the first time, we're all about spending our time with our woman, doing everything with our woman, but you know, at the same time, women and men both need their own personal time. So don't take it personally as a woman. Understand that that's, men need that time. There's men that go bowling, there's men that go hunting, there's men that go fishing. There's different things that a lot of men do. It's their own time, and sometimes they'll incorporate that with you, and then sometimes they just need that time to themselves. Again, going back to some different men, it may be in video games, it may be working out, fixing stuff in the tool shed, or going out with the guys for beer. So good. Make sure you give them their space to do that. I personally don't need a whole lot of personal time myself, but I do have endeavors that I like, and playing video games is one of them that I don't do a whole lot of anymore because I have more fun things that I like doing now. Mine's more of my interviews with my YouTube and doing things like that. But just making sure that if you figure out what your guy likes to do, and when he's doing his own thing, that you're supportive of that, because everybody, to be healthy, women and men both need their time.
And that's really important that you said to be supportive of it, because sometimes it's hard, as women, we look at it, not just women, I mean, whoever in a relationship, you look at it, and then, sometimes I think it, whatever the situation is, but it can be tough sometimes for women, but to be supportive of that time for men, just as we want men to be supportive of our time. That's something that's very important.
And when you both have your own time, that you do your own thing, it definitely makes you more invested in each other, right? So when you are together and doing things, you've had that time to miss each other. You've had that time to vent to your friends, or get out and get your own little personal my time that you need, that everybody needs. And so when you get back together as a couple, then you're like, let's talk about what happened, what went on, and you just have, more things to talk about in life. And I think that's something that sometimes some people get so invested in each other that they don't ever separate, and then it becomes kind of volatile. So I think everybody needs their time.
Sure. Definitely. So number 10, mind-blowing sex. Let's be honest. Men's sexual needs cannot be ignored. Research shows that the majority of men under 60 think about sex at least once a day, compared to about a quarter of women. Also, men fantasize about sex about twice as much, and their fantasies vary a great deal more. This makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but as our podcast states, we are awkward conversations and dirty secrets.
And you can't hold that true to every guy, too.
Exactly. As we mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, all men are different. So this is not the same for every man, but this is the majority of men, according to research. So it is a part of life. It does need to be discussed. If you're not having sex, there is an issue in your relationship, and you should be talking about it or seeking help for it. So men are like big dumb apes, and they can't help but stare when they see shiny things. As annoying and hurtful as this is to a partner, like when they look at another woman, it's sort of just a dumb thing that they do. So they can control it like anything else if they work on it. However, there is a difference between noticing and wanting.
What do I do? Ape.
So let it also be known that mind-blowing sex is not just great, it is life-altering, phenomenal, like the holy shit kind of sex that establishes a deeper level of connection. So it's not just about sex, okay? It's about connection. It's the kind of sex that has you singing like the Korn's Adidas song.
All day. I dream
And
about
if you
sex,
guys
yes, all
don't
day.
know that
I dream
song,
about sex, yes, all day.
you need to go listen to it and you'll see what I mean. Okay, I'm not gonna spell it out for you. Just go listen to it. Korn Adidas. Okay, so it'll be in your mind once you listen to it all day. It'll be in your mind or out loud all day. It's the kind of sex that makes you want to stay in bed all day and think about, you know, any excuse that you can to call into work so you can make love all day, eat takeout, and, you know, watch movies with your partner. So it's not just about the sex, it's
About the
at a much
connection.
deeper level than that. So the motive for sex is very often different for men in today's world. It's an art of being intimate and becoming dramatically closer to a person in such a way that words can't describe. The sensuality and beauty of making love to someone you truly care about on a deeper level is an experience like no other. It holds great meaning and brings about a sense of love that can't be replaced by anything else.
So, based upon that, we love when a woman says, "Thank you, that was a great sex." Because what is it with being loved? Gratitude, right? Guys want to be loved, they love to be praised, and so, it doesn't just come with sex. We don't, you know, of course, we love to be said, "That's great, oh my God." But the same thing, like we fix something, we do something, we, you know, to be thanked, you know, it's something that we really enjoy. And sometimes we may not say we do, but you know, and you hear from the woman saying, "Oh my gosh, what I'd do without you, you're such a big strong man, you're a stud," and makes a man feel like he's on cloud nine. They need it, and it's very important for their partners to give it to them. So, you know, even though sometimes you may over-exaggerate maybe a little bit, you know, like you screw in the light bulb, and like the woman's like, "Oh, thank you so much, I could have done it without you." She could have done it without you. She could have got a ladder, she could have got up there, she could have done it without you. But just
I think that's something that we've lost too in, you know, our world, is we don't have that anymore. You know, a lot, we don't say thank you in relationships. We just
and if you want to know how to praise a man,
in there, fix it.
Crystal at wingsrelationships.com. So email her, and she will tell you, you know, her advice on, you know, what you can do to praise a man. Like if you don't understand or think you know how to do it correctly, get with her. She can definitely help you out with that. Physical touch, not necessarily sexually. Men need physical touch whether they realize it or not. Many men are raised without physical touch due to once dreaded fear of boys growing up to be homosexuals. Parents, especially fathers, would refrain from showing much love, including physical touch, to their sons to raise them to be strong, masculine men. And thankfully, we moved away from that nonsense because this happened, you know, in my life. My father was afraid to hug me because he's afraid I would become homosexual, and later on he apologized, "Thank you, Dad," and said, you know, and I grew up hugging my son, and we learned, you know, through society nowadays that has nothing to do with that. You know, it's homosexuality is you are that way. It's not something that somebody puts on you by another man hugging you or anything like that. That's just, you're straight, you're homosexual. That's just the way you are. And you know, I've had friends of different types of lifestyles, and none of them had anything to do with the way they were raised. It's who you are. So it's nonsense about that point, because I hugged the crap out of my son, and he is who he is.
Just a whole other generation of, you know, that raised us, I think. So something just as simple as, as far as physical touch, a daily hug, cuddling in bed, or holding a man's hand is sufficient. A lot of people think that men don't need that, but they do. Everyone needs physical touch. It is so crucial in our world now, and it's really become difficult ever since COVID because we don't touch anymore. So the people that you are close to need it now more than ever. So make sure that you're doing that, because you know, we used to at least be able to hug strangers and shake their hands. We can't even do that anymore.
Yeah, nowadays it's elbow.
It's like air five.
Elbow touches.
Like, hey, it's up.
Yeah, and back in the day, you think about it, especially in other countries where people used to hug and kiss each other on both sides of the cheek. Growing up, men, you know, shaking a good firm handshake.
Yes.
And nowadays, you go to places, and I've even seen this in jobs I've been at where the higher ups come in and they're like elbow bumps, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel the same. You know,
it doesn't.
It doesn't feel like you're being genuine.
It doesn't. And even from strangers, that physical touch, psychologically, it helps all of us as humans. That is a necessity almost for us to survive. Like, it's so crucial.
You see those videos, those guys like say hug me, or free hug. People are coming up and just hugging. I love those anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like, there's so many studies on physical touch, like how crucial it is and how much it can change someone. But yeah, I'm not going to get off on that whole subject. But yeah, since COVID, it has changed us so much. Now more than ever, the people in your life that you're close to, that you can touch, you need to be hugging them and, you know, touching them, you know, in a way that you can, because they're not getting it from strangers. They're not getting those handshakes, those hugs, and needing it now more than ever. But yeah, a lot of people think that men don't, you know, cuddle, or they think that's stupid, or, you know, that's for, you know, women, or, you know, we don't do that. BS, you know, men like that too. So without it, we do suffer emotionally and physically if we don't have human touch, physical touch. So some men never received that as a child, and it can cause all kinds of emotional damage. So they desperately seek that if they never received it as a child, especially if they never had it from their mother. Very damaging. That's a whole other coaching subject that we can talk about if you had that happen to you. Number 13, communication. So obviously, coach, communication is the foundation of any relationship, whether it's intimate or friendship or, you know, business relationship. Communication is the key. Men won't always ask for it. In fact, they rarely do. But they crave communication. They may not even know they crave it. But most men actually have a language barrier when it comes to verbally expressing their emotions. And we as a society have done a terrible job at modifying this behavior for men. So this is why so many men come off as mindless, rude, hungry, selfish, sex-crazed lunatics. So it's up to both parties, men and women, to make a conscious effort, you know, on a daily basis to communicate. Without communication, a relationship will die. It's like a flower without water. So we hope that you enjoyed our little mini coaching session that's kind of what all our little podcasts are. They're little free mini coaching sessions. Please share our podcast with your friends.
So we're on, the great thing is our podcast is we're on Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, I can't even think of all the different names, Anchor. You'll see that we have an Anchor ad before we get started. That's our main platform. But we get a lot more listens to Spotify. We get a lot of listens to different countries because this is not just an American kind of thing. This is a worldwide. Relationships are worldwide. And so through our podcast is everything that we based upon. We talked about this earlier. Is everything starts out with Wings and Relationships, which is Crystal's blog on relationships and building better bonds. Not just with your spouse, not just when you're dating, but people in general, just life, building better bonds. And everything stems from there. We have Gentle Peeps Creative Studios, which goes on to a lot of interviews. We have photography. We have hopefully that we're getting more blogs coming out. Crystal has a ton of them written, and now maybe with the move and getting here and starting to settle down, we'll start getting back into Wings relationship stuff on the page. So forgive us for the little bit of time we were gone there. We were just trying to get moved and get everything situated. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. We have Wings and Relationships. We have Gentle Peeps Creative Studios. We have a relationship podcast page. Again, if you're here on YouTube watching, all those will be linked to the bottom. Between her link tree and my link tree, you can pretty much find everything that we do. But everything we do is based upon building relationships. Our podcast, my podcast, and the music, we're just trying to connect people in some form or fashion. So if you're interested in maybe some help in your situation that you need to help build better bonds in your relationships with people or friends or loved ones or mates, partners, and you need a little bit of help, a little bit of advice, a little bit of coaching, make sure you're going and checking that out with Crystal. She has a 15-minute free coaching session that she'll do with you and see if coaching's right for you. And so you want to check that out also. And then definitely share. We really have a few good friends who share our stuff a lot. Jenna and Jenna Ray, those two, probably our top two people of sharing our stuff with others. And so hopefully you'll share it too, your friends. And other than that, so again, make sure you go and check it out on YouTube. All the links below. And if you're listening to it on Spotify, you can find us Awkward Conversations and Dirty Secrets, and we appreciate your time and listening. Have a good night.